If you sped through Google's homepage today, you made the mistake of not examining the Google Doodle. Now, I usually fly right by that myself, but today, if you clicked on the picture of that woman, you would have read about possibly the most important American woman of the 20th century whose name you don't know. Dorothy Irene Height has earned many more important honors than today's Google Doodle. President Clinton awarded her the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 1994, and his successor, George W. Bush, awarded Dorothy Height the Congressional Gold Medal. Those two medals are our nation's highest civilian awards, but in 1929, she didn't seem destined for awards when she arrived here in New York City as an admitted freshman to Barnard College, the distinguished women's college associated with Columbia University. It was only when she arrived on campus that the college administrators realized that Dorothy Height was African American, whereupon they immediately rewrote her acceptance letter into a rejection on the spot and turned her away because they had already filled their quota for black students that year. The quota was 2, and Barnard simply couldn't bear a third black freshman in 1929. What would you do? You travel to your new college only to be told that your acceptance is invalid, and it's invalid because of the color of your skin. What Dorothy Height did, while still staggered by what happened to her at the gates of Barnard, was get on the subway, ride all the way downtown to New York University, and show them her Barnard acceptance letter. NYU admitted her on the spot. She earned her bachelor's degree in 1933 and earned her master's in psychology in 1935.
Never underestimate the power of your example. The very fact that you are graduating, let alone that more women now graduate from college than men, is only possible because earlier generations of women, your mothers, your grandmothers, your aunts, shattered the myth that you couldn't or shouldn't be where you are.
No woman did more to shatter the myth that you couldn't or shouldn't be where you are than Dorothy Height, who was turned away from the very place where President Obama delivered that 2012 commencement address. President Obama knew Dorothy Height's story, but graciously, perhaps too graciously, did not include it in his Barnard commencement address. She became, as the New York Times once called her, a largely unsung giant of the civil rights era. She spent 8 decades in the civil rights movement, beginning with anti-lynching protests in the 1930s. She was president of the National Council of Negro Women for 40 years. She advised several presidents of the United States on civil rights. The Times described her role in the movement this way. Over the years, historians have made much of the so-called Big Six who led the civil rights movement: the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., James Farmer, John Lewis, A. Philip Randolph, Roy Wilkins, and Whitney M. Young Jr. Ms. Height, the only woman to work regularly alongside them on projects of national significance, was very much the unheralded seventh, the leader who was cropped out, figuratively and often literally, of images of the era. There she is in 1963 on the platform when Dr. King delivered his "I Have a Dream" speech. She was one of the chief organizers of that event. And in high school, she was the only black contestant to make it to the national finals of a public speaking contest, which she then won. Her winning speech was about the Reconstruction amendments to the Constitution that extended constitutional protections to former slaves. But the audience at the March on Washington that day did not get to hear her speak because all the speakers were men.
She wasn't interested in credit. What she cared about was the cause. The cause of justice, the cause of equality, the cause of opportunity, freedom's cause.
That was President Obama speaking at Dorothy Height's funeral in the National Cathedral in 2010. She was 98 when she died, 15 months into the Obama presidency, and in those 15 months, she was invited to and visited the White House 21 times. President Obama made sure that she had a good seat up on the platform for his first inauguration address. Barnard recognized its mistake a long time ago. When Dorothy Height died, the president of Barnard said, "Denying Dr. Height the opportunity to attend Barnard was an egregious decision that truly saddens all of us at the college. We join in celebrating her inspiring achievements as a leader of the civil rights movement, a crusader for justice, and a fearless role model for young women everywhere." 30 years earlier, Barnard officially apologized to Dorothy Height and awarded her the college's highest honor, the Barnard Medal of Distinction. And in 2004, Barnard gave Dorothy Height an honorary degree. When she received her Barnard degree that day, Dorothy said, quote, "Something that could have hurt forever has been removed." Today is Dorothy Irene Height's 102nd birthday.